for joining us. Sorry for the holdup. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hi, Melina. How are you? And then for those of you that can share your screen, please do so. Let me see. Share screen. Before I get started. Oh, okay. I said, where did it go? If you don't mind telling me a little bit about either if you started a business or if you've been in business for a while and what the focus is. Melina or Melina? Sorry.
Yes, hi. Yes, I just started a private practice in psychotherapy.
Oh, okay.
The business is not my strong aspect. I used to do law, I used to be an attorney, I studied psychotherapy, psychology, but nowadays business is very different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of components. I am from a different country, so that also adds another element. So I want to be open and I want to learn new things.
Okay. How is just a quick question? How is psychotherapy? Is that?
Yes, psychotherapy. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a counselor. Okay. Yes.
So that's what I was curious what focus it had.
Yes, the focus is working with individuals, in my case, and couples. I am bilingual and I own my own corporation, the practice, and I do telehealth and in person.
Okay. And so are you looking to increase number of clients or?
Yes, but also that will be progressively. Somehow, I think that goes slow. It's not that I want a lot of clients right now. Like it's not that I am selling a product that I need to sell it right away. I have an urgency to sell certain amount of items. In this case, it's more about knowing about the business, the business part.
Okay.
About the marketing, about this what I lack of the communication. Usually everything is mainly through internet. I have my website, but I am very curious to know more. Okay. So if any efforts that I make, they go into a direction that has been proved or has been supported by somebody who knows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead and send the video from last session to everybody, as well as the PowerPoint. And if you have any questions, please let me know as I go along. I'm going to try to go a little bit faster this time at the beginning, and then we can go back and touch on a few points. If you have any questions or comments, any feedback, anything pertaining to whatever it is that your business is or even somebody else's. So last week, just a recap of what we're going to be going over today. We started to talk about a little bit of a analysis of your industry, looking at the standards and trends. It was very brief, so I wanted to include it in this week's presentation as well. We're going to be talking about how to design your ideal customer and who you are, who your business is, giving it a personality and characteristics in order to make your marketing a lot easier in terms of what language to use, what colors, just what kind of a person, quote unquote, is your business. And then this will help us create a brief marketing plan that fits your time and budget. At the end, when I email the slides, I will also include like a worksheet that will help you create that brief marketing plan. I'll I hope that there's enough time to show some social media tools, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, LinkedIn. You can let me know which programs you use the most, including Canva. We can go over Canva a bit. If you haven't heard of it, it's a platform that allows you to design quickly, which will help you with your timing, your time management. Okay, so types of market research that I mentioned last time was one-on-one interviews, focus groups, case study research, tracking, record keeping, any observations that you see, well, the observations about your clients or customers, and then surveys or polls. And then I know that this seems like it's very extensive, or like it could take a long time to have this research done, but with even within 6 months of having your business, you can already identify what the likes and dislikes, or what the common common characteristics of your customers are. So when you're creating a market research, or when you're looking into defining what is the most popular need or desires that your customers have, these are some of the topics that you should look for. What makes the customer satisfied? What if they can be segmented, how can you segment, or how many different ways can you segment them, whether it's by location, by age, by sport, the type of sport that they like. Market measurement is huge. It gives you an idea of how many consumers or customers you have out there, whether it's in a local region. If you are thinking you only want to sell within 30-mile radius, or if you want to sell statewide, doing the market research or market measurement, it gives you a good idea of how many customers can be accessible. And I usually like to use the census. It's kind of time consuming also, but it gives you an idea of how many men, how many females, how, like, the economic levels, the areas, the population, all of that. And then another topic is user experience. How difficult is the product to use, or how easy is it to use, or how easy is it to access it? There's also analysis on their behavior, the retention, the number of retention. Last time, for those of you that weren't able to stay longer than the hour that we had scheduled, I walked through a series of questions with one of our participants, and it was an important question for me to understand how many people actually stay after they, or how many people get promoted to, like, the next level, and why would they want to, or why do they leave? So understanding why your customers don't stay is, I would say, a really huge feedback to obtain from your customers, because it can tell you if one, you're not providing the services the way they expected or they like, or two, maybe if you have a promotion, or if you're the way you're selling is giving off the wrong interpretation. So, for example, if they think they're, let's just say I'm a photographer. So if I say, oh yeah, you get an 8x10 photo, and so they're expecting a frame just because I show it in a frame. Just having that clarity with your customers is huge, because otherwise, if I just hand over a photo without a frame, they're wondering, like, where's the frame? So just having clarity in the way that you sell is very important. the purchase process, if you have ads out there, how effective are they? Being able to track them or finding a way to track them is recommended. And sometimes you could just say, mention this ad or use code, sale. And then employee satisfaction also has to do a lot with how your business is perceived. They're the ones that represent you, and they're the ones that also get a lot of feedback from the community when they're not at work. On the competition side, if I would look at the reviews, the customer reviews, so whether it's Yelp or menu.com, I think it is, and social media platforms, look at what their customers are saying or doing or liking. And I'll show you on Facebook, there's actually an area where you can select multiple pages to track, and it'll give you an idea of which page is growing more. Sometimes, I'm not saying be like them, but it'll give you an idea of what you can implement in order to be more efficient or have an understanding of what other customers are wanting. And then also look at the product and the service, the product attributes, the service development, their brand personality, and also if they had any changes within the time that they've been in business, whether it was changes to their product or changes in how they provide their service, if they had changes in their target audience, and pricing. This is an example of market research. If you are a business-to-business business owner, you fall, according to these statistics, you fall under the category of being between the ages, or 45% of you fall under the category of being between 57 and 75 years old. 7% of them are millennials, 77% are male business owners, 85% are Caucasian. And this is a general description of the market, the demographics. It doesn't say much about their behavior, except that, let's see, maybe the fact that they bought a business. So, and then the top industries are like 15% retail, and then 14% restaurant. So just knowing who are the most common customers will help you create a plan to who you should focus on. With the consumers, I'm sorry, it's 78%. They mentioned 78% shop through Amazon. So that's an important factor. It gives you an idea of where you should definitely be selling your products if you have an online store or you're promoting on another e-commerce site. 51% are female, so it's almost, it's a little bit higher, but not that much to just focus on females. 96% of Americans shop online, so you bet we should be online when we're selling products. And then the next slide talks about how where the influences come from. So whether it's geography, the globalization, new innovations, technology, social media, influencers, so celebrities, politics, culture. Culture is huge, mobility, workforce, and then of course generation. So just knowing, being comfortable in selling to that demographics is, it is also a huge component of how successful you are in selling. If you're not familiar with the culture and you're afraid of saying the wrong things, or if it's due to politics that you have to connect with them, sometimes it requires more investigation or research or learning in order to sell to a new market. So those elements always create changes in our attitudes, our preferences, our desires, expectations, vocabulary, behaviors, opinion, perspective, and how we decide to purchase. And vocabulary is also a huge one. Just recently, I was with another business owner or business consultant, and she's a bit younger, and she just kept saying words like, oh, bougie and ratchet. And I'm like, okay. And my daughter and I were just laughing like, okay, what does that mean? Like, let's look it up. I had an idea of what it meant, but it was just funny how she would just throw random words that kind of sounded like a different language. And so if I was selling to a newer generation, understanding how they use their words or when they use their words to describe what is also very important, because it can influence them to become a buyer. Before I move on, are there any questions about any of the slides so far?
Sure, we will get those record and the slide pictures today. Do you think we can do? You can send us today the slide
Yes.
pictures and
Yes.
the record.
Yes, for sure.
Hello.
Okay. And so now that after doing your market research and your customer observation, we can develop a marketing plan. We can develop the ideal customer and our brand personality. I'm gonna be calling out on some people. Sylvia, are you there today? Or not today? Are you there? Sorry.
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm well, thank you. I couldn't find the link to get in, so I'm sorry I'm late, but here I am.
Oh, no worries. So last time we spoke about the classes, and I asked you questions like, what makes your students stay or want to get promoted? What was their motivation? Understanding what keeps them motivated to continue to work with you or to continue to buy from you is obviously a number one question that we want to understand. And so that information should be implemented into the information that you send out, whether it's on social media, whether it's on an ad. You want to let the new customers know that, hey, because you're purchasing from us, you're going to basically receive this. Let me see. I'm going to call on Francis. Thank you for messaging. I saw the message. I love Canva.
Use it every day.
Yeah. So you use it for social media as well, or?
I use it for a whole host of things, but yes.
So what is it that you're usually promoting on a daily basis?
So my day job where I'm at right now, Central Coast Medical Aesthetics, I make posts. I do our paid advertising. So I make all of our online advertisements. I have a lot of friends who I help out. So I have my best friend, her church is doing a big fall festival. So I'm making all of their flyers and doing all their posts. They have big screen TVs that they play before their services on Sunday. So I'm making everything that plays on those. I've done letterhead. I've done pretty much everything that Canva allows you to do. I have done on it.
So when I'm going to ask you about the friends or family that you help, and create these graphics, what's the first question that you usually ask them besides what information do you want on it?
What's the message that they're trying to portray with it?
Yeah.
So especially like with the church, it's, that's a pretty broad spectrum of people that you're trying to reach. And when you're trying to do an event that is going to deal with everybody who's in your congregation, it's really what is the core message of the event and what are you trying to portray, which is the same thing within sales when I'm doing that. It's like, what are we trying to convey and who's the target who we know is going to see it and how are they, what can we put together to where it's going to be receptive and it's going for them to be able to receive the message that we're trying to get across to them.
Right. So how do you choose the words that you use to influence?
I usually will have good conversations to see kind of play on who I'm working with so that it's their voice that's being conveyed. And also just looking at, so I've been doing a lot of marketing for almost 20 years now. So just a lot of just understanding a lot of different campaigns and things that have been done. So experience, and then just understanding really, I mean, like what you're talking about, it's who are you talking to? And how do the people you want to talk to, how do they talk?
Exactly.
Because if you're speaking a foreign language, they're just going to be like, oh, it might be a pretty picture, but I have no idea what they're talking about. So it's joining, the aesthetic of what they're looking at to what they're looking for, but then being able to explain it in a way that would be in something that they would be talking about to their best friend. Because that's really, at the end of the day, what you're trying to do out of all of this, right? Is how do I get people talking about what I'm doing and what I'm offering and getting that excitement and getting them to be like, oh, I definitely need to talk to, go to this therapist or buy this product or everything what we're doing. So it's a lot of looking at the big picture of everything and then what represents that and putting it into a visual form, which is why it takes so long.
Yeah, and you're right. It does take a long time because you are having those conversations with others and developing not just the graphics, but those words that will catch their eyes. And did everybody come up with a time frame of how much availability you have to dedicate just to marketing? I know you do it at work. So aside from work, how much would you say you have available for your business?
I usually spend if I'm actually sitting down, I'm spending at least 3 hours a day.
Yeah,
I'm a night owl, so I just make sure that at the end of my day, that's what I do is I sit down and I open up Canva and start going down my lists. Like, what's the promotions that I need to do? Is there any product that I'm launching? Is there, what do I want to talk about for tips and just kind of map it out.
yeah,
But it takes time. And I learned that that's the one thing that you absolutely have to make sure that you're dedicating time to.
yeah. And I'll go ahead and share my screen on Canva just so everybody else knows what we're talking about. If you haven't heard about it, it's another platform where it helps you design, or it already has templates that allow you to just switch out whatever it is that you're wanting to create.
And you can do websites now. Did you see that?
Yeah, websites and videos I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And they make it very easy and
Absolutely.
just everything's
Affordable.
available to you, whether it's photos or graphics or designs. So just to give you an idea, here are not all, but here are some examples of things that they have available as far as templates go, whether it's book covers, social media. I'll go to social media. Whether it's for Instagram, Facebook, you could just select on some of these and then see what's available and it'll allow you to choose between Facebook post or a cover, an event cover, a Facebook video, a story. And then, you know, like you can spend hours and hours trying to select the perfect one, but because if your business requires for you to post at least three ads a week or 3 graphics a week, I wouldn't spend too much time trying to select the perfect one. Instead, you know, let's just go to Facebook post, for example, to see all, and then you can filter through some of the options available. So I usually like to go for free if you don't have the account that, or if you don't have a paid account. And then depending if there's like a certain color that you want to go off of, or you know, if it's illustration or a sale or greeting a business, if it's more elegant. And the reason I say don't spend too much time trying to find the perfect one is because there's more than 100,000 designs. So so just select some themes or some styles, and then off of that you can select whichever design maybe pops the soonest or that catches your eye. So the reason it's important to do this market research is because this is how you'll know how to come off. If you're in the industry that requires you to be a little bit more serious about the topic that you're talking about, let's just say medical treatment, or you know, or sometimes therapy too, because it's a serious.
Yes, I was going to say that yeah, that is here is like the seriousness, the license. There's so many aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure with family, you know, as a mom, when I think of my kids or you know our family dynamics, it's a serious topic for me. But you know, I put myself in my son's shoes too, and if he's more jokative, or you know, even if it is a serious topic like mental health, sometimes there's memes, you know, with the other day I noticed some memes for ADHD, and it was describing how that individual lost track of not just time, but of what they were supposed to be doing. And it was actually kind of funny, but at the same time, to me, it was kind of heartbreaking because, you know, my son is now officially diagnosed with ADHD. And so it kind of broke my heart to understand how he has to struggle trying to, you know, think about everything that he has to do. And then at the end, just not remember what he was supposed to do. But maybe for his age, it would be a little bit more appropriate because it's funny to him and he can relate to it.
Yes, the number one, in this case, the number one component will be safety, and like a safety in the sense of a professional that communicates like safety, and also being prepared. There's somebody who has the background. And then if it is for children, of course, something softer, something different, like a fresh, no? Like something fresh.
Yeah. And again, write down I'll send out a worksheet, but it's important to write down what your objectives are. Who, you know, and this is part of creating your ideal customer, which we'll go back to in a second, but write down who is it that you want to help, you know, because there are a lot of customers that have a need for what you have to offer. And so is it a painful experience because they need you, or is it a relieving experience after they find you? You know, what will happen after you connect with the ideal customer?
Remy, can
yes.
you hear?
Yes. I lost you, I think. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Remy?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My internet was cutting me off all the time, so it's broken up all the time. I was wondering if you can send me, you know, the record today,
Yes.
because you know, my internet was is very unstable.
Okay,
So
yeah, no problem. Yeah, we'll
It's
email
cut-
everybody the recorded sessions. Oh, or I'll message you, so, because I think it's cutting out again.
yeah, it's cutting off again. I don't know what's happened. My internet is very unstable today. Okay, I probably will leave soon because it's so unstable. I cannot hear you and it's cutting me off all the time. I will just expecting you can send me the record of the slide picture. Would
Yes,
that be okay?
yes. I'll send it out to everybody. So in the, thank you, Francis, for the other messages. In whatever graphics that you create or promotions, you do have to have consciousness of if there's any legal limitations, or what is okay within the culture of that community, what is not okay within that culture.
And also what Facebook will allow, because they're
And-
getting really, really strict on what they will allow you.
Yeah, and they actually do a really good job of monitoring a lot of things, including music copyrights, but they do identify certain keywords or certain graphics that shouldn't be posted. And so within the group, is there like a specific platform that you have been using more than others, or is there one that you would like to use more than others? What are you guys thinking for how to promote your business?
I need to learn TikTok.
Okay.
Yes, I am in a place of, I haven't used social media as much, and I am not now posting or promoting in Facebook or Instagram because I want to have the best tools. Otherwise, I prefer not to do. If I don't feel confident in that aspect of, it's the marketing that so I'd like to learn more, but I am not an example of all of you that you are already in the business and selling. And so
Well,
if I learn a few tools, or if you can tell me where I can learn, or I will be happy. I will research it.
yeah, the
Yeah.
fact that you're a therapist is already a huge plus, because that's what fascinates me about marketing. You're kind of getting into the minds of other individuals and persuading. As soon as I started talking about my son, you were saying safety is first. So those are the messages that you're wanting to post. Safety is first, because you as the specialist or the professional, what are the biggest concerns that are you wanting to target moms, dads, parents?
And now adults over 18, because I work partly in telehealth and working with children in telehealth. I've done that, but I don't feel completely safety can be there when a child has to handle their own the confidentiality piece. I will be passing that to the child, or to the family, but and that is something that I have to have control of. I have a HIPAA compliant platform and everything, but I work with people over 18 until 99 years old. That for me are different stages. And my education is in-depth psychology. That is, I also, it's in-depth psychology that I see things more from the source, maybe the first years of life. I am certified in somatic psychotherapy. I am a yoga instructor too. And I am going to be certified in mindfulness from Harvard University now this year. So there's
Nice.
What happens to me is a very difficult, I know and I have experience, but it's very difficult to bring small pieces out, to promote, or myself in that way. So I used to be an attorney. Maybe that is why like everything was more in and
And you're
the
scared
work.
of the lawsuits too.
Oh, of course, everything also is through those lenses. I have to do things in a way that is has substance, you know.
Mhm.
But I need to let go. I need to bring my creative self that I also have into the, you know, into, I don't know, like
How do you get your clients now?
how like it's referrals from
From
people
who?
who know me. Yes,
Okay.
and from the web, from Psychology Today is very, very slow, but it's okay because it's a presence online, and I just have my website. I started this year my private practice. I used to work for other therapists, and I got licensed. I've been in the field for 6 years, working with people, like doing the work. Before I was pre-licensed, and a year ago I got licensed. So I am bilingual, multicultural. My family, I married with an Asian man. And so I've been in the US since I was 33. So it's as if I had two lives, you know.
Mhm.
So somehow the focus now has been into who I am in this community, what I can offer. And also I cannot deny my experience from before. Like there is a whole, is one me, but how I translate that in how I communicate.
Right.
That. So I
Right.
try to simplify, you know, the website I wrote, the website. I would like to improve the SEO, but I am not, I'm trying to learn first.
Yeah, the
Try-
SEO is kind of a monster of itself. I wouldn't focus too much on that, even though it's a huge, huge plus to know it, but we're not gonna, I'll show you a graphic too that kind of goes over everything that it consists of. But yeah, and I would just start with one platform at a time. Identify who you're wanting to talk to. Who do you need the attention from? Who is the one that actually makes the reservation or books the appointment? And how do you usually talk to them? How, if it's for a child, it doesn't matter. It's whoever you're booking with, you know, whoever calls you to make that appointment and whoever's handing over the payment. Because I know therapy is voluntary, but if it wasn't for that person guiding them or pushing them or encouraging them to take the sessions or to be involved with some type of therapy services, then you wouldn't have that client. So focus on that person
Exactly, the
first.
bridge. That will be the bridge, no?
Yeah.
Malina, it's Liang. I can give you a suggestion, you know, probably start with homeschool, because if you join homeschool, that will be paid by the government. Homeschool, you know, that's what I recently found out, the homeschool. You know, homeschool that everything they do paid by the government, they will, you know, they will probably more likely to use your services.
Yes, yeah, exactly. In my field, what happens is there has been a lot of stigma throughout the years. So when people feel better, just sometimes it's few sessions, it's okay if they don't take the services anymore, but sometimes it's there when the work starts. So yes, I am now looking into Zencal, that is the health insurance for medical, and they already sent me the paperwork, and yeah.
Medical, yeah.
I am very curious because I see that this is the future, and and technology and internet is not something that I look forward to be all the time or want to know more. So somehow I want to get my education slowly and understand how the social media works, how people, because I think this is what it is out there for the future. How the younger generations, that is what they do. They read reviews. They
So
Yeah,
your purpose of having a social media platform or a page is to educate or engage the younger generation. It's not
whoever,
necessarily to
yes, I
gain
don't know
clients.
who is in Instagram. I don't know exactly nowadays who uses it, because changes very quickly. How maybe people over 40 or people that are, I feel, I don't know, because it's covering a lot of the down time. People goes into the social media as a way of connecting or,
Yeah.
I think
or entertain instead of other ways, very short, very quick. And
Right. So I just want you to realize that you don't need social media to have clients. Correct.
okay, that's what I thought from the beginning. So is
Yeah.
it me that I am rejecting it, or that's what I think? That's
Right.
exactly, I don't, yeah.
And that's something that we talked about in the first class, that in order to have the most sales or the most revenue coming through is identify the right form of communication or of who you need to sell to. And I can share the screen really quickly. So many of us actually don't need to be on social media. You could do it to, if you wanted to create a group of teens or of youth that could learn or grasp a lot of, can grow or even feel like they're being guided as if they were in your therapy sessions without actually going to your therapy sessions. If that was your objective, is to allow somebody else to feel to go through the healing or a healing process, then of course, social media would be one of the platforms that I would recommend you using. If it's only to obtain clients, I would say communicate more with the district directly, the school district, or clinics, other government offices, because I think a lot of people, including myself, would benefit from therapy sessions. It is something that is new to many, that they feel like they don't need it, they shouldn't have it, what for? But really it's like hanging out with a friend. I would say if there's a good if it's a good match where they feel comfortable expressing themselves, and sometimes even better than hanging out with a friend, because we're talking to a professional that knows how to guide us through our thoughts. So it could just be merely posting things of how you do what you do. That doesn't scare people away, or that doesn't make people feel
Simplifying.
like,
Sometimes the more simple we get into
Yeah.
all this education, all this, but then simple, and I don't know, something that you'd like to do.
Marlena, I think the best way to do, like your profession, is go through Medicare, the people who has Medicare, because they don't have to spend money to go to a therapist. Most of people don't want to spend money on therapists, because they think they can handle the emotion, they don't need to go to a therapist.
Yeah.
But Medicare, because the Medicare is free, if you go to therapist, they were willing to go. Also homeschool students, because they don't have to pay either. So the government pay for it. So you just search in your area, how many homeschool, get in touch with them. They normally has a group, and introduce them in the homeschool situation.
Homeschool.
Yeah, homeschools. I was strongly suggest.
But
Also
thank
Medicare.
you.
Medicare.
Yeah.
I know Elena because her 2 children learn Chinese from me. We learned for many years.
Yes, and I didn't know she was going to be in the class. Yeah.
I didn't know you're coming. Yeah.
how funny. So I'm gonna move forward and kind of give you a list of questions that can help you in creating your ideal customer. the ideal customer is the most easiest customer you can think of in terms of who will buy the most from you, who will look for you. In other words, just buy and buy and buy from you, whatever it is that your service or product is. Jim, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. And if you don't mind sharing what commonalities your customers or clients have had.
Well, the people I like to work with would be people that get things done, they're motivated, they're on time, and we enjoy working together. That'd be my most important.
What
I'd rather
makes
work
it-
with somebody that I get along with and get paid less than work with somebody that maybe we don't really get along, or they're a certain personality type or something, and maybe they pay more, but it wouldn't be worth it to me to upset my values or
Mhm.
you know, how I like to work.
Yeah, stress is not cheap when it comes to the hospital bill. So when you do work with difficult personalities, it drives you nuts. And you could possibly carry it on to home life, unfortunately, even when you're aware that, you know, you need to leave it at work. So yeah, what is it that makes it enjoyable, or what do you normally do to get to know your customer?
Well, usually I meet them in person somewhere, and you know, when you meet people, you can kind of get a quick feeling of how things are going to go, and maybe some small talk. You just get, you know, warm and fuzzy. I've worked with some people that they're really slow, but they're okay to work with, and that was okay. But what I realized was I finally told them one day, I said, I've decided that any work you get done is more like a present for me, because I like the work to get done as I guess acknowledgement of what we're doing together and making progress. But when it's really slow, you don't get that. It's like, hey, taking a test, right? But then the
Yeah.
teacher doesn't give you your grade for 3 or 4 weeks. So
Right.
I like to work with people. They don't have to be extremely fast or anything, but
Yeah.
most
But
people
you're-
I've worked with have pretty good personalities. They do good work, and they're just looking for a little way to get ahead.
Yeah. You're very goal driven.
Yeah, I usually have a project timeline of sorts.
Yeah. And that's great. I mean, your satisfaction from working with others comes from accomplishing those tasks or those projects that you have in mind. You're in real estate, correct?
I do mostly investments, but then I have little side gigs. I do some career planning, some strategic planning, whatever
Nice.
somebody wants. It doesn't matter. If they want me to work on their yard, that's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes I find that they're not always so people you want to work with, because they don't show up, or they're late, or you know, and it puts you behind schedule.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's true what they say, time is money. It could hold you back from other projects that you have to do. So how would you find your customers, or how do you find them now?
Well, before the pandemic, I used to go outside, but now I really haven't gone much of anywhere. So, you know, since the pandemic's over now, I just need to get out and about more. When I was working, I would meet a lot of people through the chamber mixers and stuff like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
then at work, we also had we had associations with groups from the colleges and stuff, the Society Hispanic Professional Engineers. They would come to our meetings and stuff, and I'd meet quite a few people there and find out where they needed help, and then offer up some help and guidance and stuff.
Right.
And then some
Yeah.
people I've met just being at Starbucks too.
Nice. Finding out what their need is usually a plus, because that's the way you can get started. Right.
Yes.
negotiating or in seeing how you can provide a service that can help them with that problem. So does everybody have an idea of how you can go about selling? I'm going to use the word selling, but really promoting your business with the intention of increasing your revenue, whether it's person to person or a social media, or what is it that you will use the most where your customer is mostly connecting with you? Jim, with the jobs that you have, I know you mentioned that you meet them at different locations, but if we're focusing on revenue, increasing revenue, where would you go the most?
I've been thinking about using the ConvertKit program a little bit, but at the same time, I view it as I'd have to not meet people in person, and then have it be more video driven with classes, seminars, and putting out content, a lot of content, you know, to keep people interested. And I'm not sure I have the time for that much work.
Yeah, what will you be focusing on selling?
I would like to sell my my career enrichment program.
Okay. And how does that program work?
That program works by meeting with me, and I give you a bunch of homework, and then we have a discussion about it. And then you realize where all your gaps are, and you freak out and cry, and because you realize you're not on track or things are just bad. Yeah, that's how that works. It's a I think I have like 10, it'd be like a 10-week program for people.
Okay. Romy,
Yes.
I have to go. Your
Okay.
time is over. Would you please send me the slides pictures? Also send me
Yes.
the record, please.
Yes.
Can you do that? Okay.
Thank
Do you have
you.
my email? Do you want me to text you my email address?
We
chat?
have it.
Okay. All right. I will expect for the record and the slide pictures. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Sure.
guys. Okay, bye.
Have you sold one of those programs, or
No, I haven't sold any. I usually just give them away.
okay, is it kind of like life coaching but career focused?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm guessing your ideal customer would be that
Somebody that's probably working in a career focused. Maybe they're been somewhere for 5 or 10 years, but they're trying to decide they want to go lateral, go vertical, go into another profession. It's really about them identifying what they really want to do versus what they're currently doing. You know, sometimes we get into a job and next thing you know, a few years have gone by, and then you think, well, you know, that's what I do, but maybe you're really better off at something else, or maybe you always wanted to do something else, but you don't know how, you're afraid to. So I kind of pull it into some strategic planning, and then somewhere in there I can try and find out if they want to start their own business. Some people don't. They don't want to start their own business.
Yeah.
They like working for other people, going home basically at the end of the day. And my kids work for themselves, and there is no end of the day. You go home, you update stuff, you pay your bills, you plan your next job, look for the next jobs, call your guys in India who are on a different time zone, you know, so.
Would you say that a lot of these shifts in careers would require them to go to a university to find out a little bit more, or go online to research a technical field?
Yes, sometimes there's just a gap. For example, one person I worked out with recently, we were going over the resume, which part of this also includes resume work and stuff. and interviewing, practicing, especially if there's a specific job they're interested in.
Okay.
Then, but they had no technical experience. And when I asked them about access, they said, access to what?
Mhm.
And I said, access the Microsoft program. And they didn't know what that was. And I said, well, okay, you have a huge gap in the Microsoft suite of stuff that you think you know, but
Mhm.
but to me, access would be a key thing to know, along with several other things. I suggested they sign up for a Microsoft certification program of sorts, just to increase what they can put on their resume when they compete with other people.
Yeah. It sounds like you can work closely with, I would say, the colleges or even high schools. Get to know some of the career development teachers, or like the career, what is it called? The classroom where they have all of those resources available.
Yes. Yes, I
'Cause
was working with quite a few college students through the SHEP program. But then with the pandemic and everything kind of just fell apart there. But there are probably other groups that I can reacquaint myself with. And it helps if they are in a career versus like, it's not a program to decide, do you want to be, you take a test and say, oh, you'd be best to be a nurse, or you'd be best to be an auto mechanic or something. It's really finding out, what do you really want to do and how can you get there?
Right. And, there's a lot of pressure for high school students to know what they want to do in life, quote unquote. But I mean, it's so common to change our careers, even when we're 10 years into the career. What has made you decide to give away your program?
Well, I'm just sort of a little further down the road. So I'm kind of finding it as a way to give back, keep me engaged. I had a book scholarship program I was using for people that I'd run into that were highly motivated, had very good grades, and maybe, they just financially struggling a little bit, so I offered up originally it was a book scholarship program, and they'd have to bring me the receipts, and I started this with a Starbucks barista as a pilot program, and they get the cost of their books, bring it to me, I give them the cash, they'd bring me the receipt and the change, and then at some point I said, well, this is just too much work for me, because I like to use Lean Sigma and just lean it out. So I just made it a strict dollar amount and asked them to give me an accounting at the end, like, did you buy books and pencils and erasers and felt pens or whatever, with the money. So I kind of knew where it went.
Okay. But we want to avoid giving them away and instead sell them. Or is the book included as like a given when they book so many sessions with you? Do you think it's something that has shifted from a product to a service?
Are you saying if I wanted to go larger?
Yeah, or like just have
Yes,
more.
if I wanted to go larger, I would definitely take the work I have and streamline it and put it into a different format to run across the internet, where they would essentially sign up, complete a task, and then the next task would be sent to them. And then they could just do that on their own. And then for an extra fee, they could have one-on-one sessions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something that you're looking forward to do, or are you?
Well, it's on the list,
Mhm.
that I could do this. It's just a matter of how much time do I have, and is that what I want to do?
Right. Yeah. How much time do you have available for it?
Well, I run an investment, through the mornings, and then the afternoons I have a little bit of free time. You know, the evenings can be free. I got a bunch of grandkids and stuff and kids that keep me busy. So that's why I mostly do it for free. It's some way to get out there, give back to the community. But at some point, my strategic planning business really would rather grow that and get out there and actually have an income from that
Mhm.
to
Right.
support the stuff I give away.
Yeah. We'll talk about it a little bit more as we go. Tan, I know you've been wanting to, or you want to do a little bit more e-commerce. So have you already identified the platform that you would like to sell on? Have you looked on that, into that?
Yeah, I'm working with my sister and she thinks that Printify is where we're going to be ordering our shirts and printing from, and they connect to Etsy. And so we'll build our store on Etsy and possibly even another site, but then they can order straight through Printify, who does shipping from their store. So we don't have to have shipping it, you know, we don't have to worry about any of the shipping.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And so will there, who will your ideal customer be?
Well, the shirts are designed for kids.
Mhm.
Since my nephew does all the artwork and then I clean it up and color all of his drawings, they're kind of geared more towards boys.
Okay.
And they look like, you know, like skater boy, outdoors, you know, kind of the tough kid that likes surf logos or skater boy logos. And so we were thinking that most likely boys from ages, you know, between 5 and 12. I guess it depends on, you know, what parents, obviously we're selling to parents in the end, but I also think a couple of his designs do look good on adults because he draws monsters, but they're beautiful designs. They don't look like anything else. They look more like, gosh, I can't even.
Do you have a sample of them?
Yeah. I don't know how to show it. Oh, wait a minute. Aha. I've got a shirt right behind me. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So it's like bright colors, fun shapes, and kind of a loose, fun design style. And all of his pictures are sort of like that. Oh, I've got another one. Hang on. So like this one
Okay.
and this one.
Nice.
They're just kind of bright, colorful, loose, fun monsters.
Yeah.
And kids love them. Like his kids that come over, like his friends, and they all want his shirts, and the adults are really impressed because he's only 11, but he started drawing when he was about 4. And he told me when he was very little, I think he was like 6 years old, he said, Annie Tenny, all of these t-shirts have the same dinosaurs on them for boys. And he says, I could draw better.
Mhm.
And I love that idea. He's not a cookie cutter
Yeah.
design, you know, so I just think it'd be fun to offer something different and fresh. And I believe in his art. I color
Yeah.
everything. I paint all of the artwork. So
Nice. What
Yeah.
is it that impressed the parents?
I think that there was just a little boy out there kind of doing something positive with art, you know, that here's a little kid that has dreams of sharing his designs with his friends and his community that I think parents were like, wow, he's so creative, and we'll support that, that he's out there wanting to do something good. And, it takes a lot of effort and energy for him to be creative, and it's a positive thing. Because he had a rough home life when he was young, got bounced around all over the place, and art really calmed him.
Mhm. Yeah, the reason I asked that is because one, he can't grow up anymore. But this is part of the mission when you're promoting your business. Tell his story, tell why the monsters, why, or if he does decide to draw other things. It's important. Many of the consumerism or the decisions to buy is due to the fact that there's a story behind everything that we're purchasing now.
Yeah.
It shifted from just because a celebrity was wearing it to, because we're helping for a good cause, or we're, this child is local and this is his story. And because it is different and it is, like you said, customized to his needs, could he customize other needs? If some other friend said, oh, you know what, I really like horses, would he be open to drawing horses, or would it be just monsters?
Yeah, he has drawn things for people, but he makes them into monsters.
Yeah.
So,
And that's okay. That's his style.
yeah, that's his style. So yeah, he likes drawing things for people. Like a friend of mine asked him to draw him a dragonfly, and he took it literally and drew a dragon head on a dragonfly breathing fire. And I thought that was really cute. It was his style.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, they're still customized with his touch.
Yeah.
And so just thinking about that concept, that it is something that a young boy is doing, and it is something that is very productive and very positive, especially in an area where we might not have as much to offer in terms of different activities for the youth, or, I don't know if he's timid or very outgoing. Identifying those or having those characteristics relate to his future customers will be huge.
Yeah, I could actually see him leading other kids in a little drawing lesson, promoting kids' art, where other kids to do art.
Yeah.
You start with a big mouth and you add crazy wings. I could see him actually leading a children's art group if he talks about how to be creative as a kid.
Yeah. And maybe not necessarily how to teach him how to draw, but creating his own community where it is a bunch of boys that maybe didn't have it all that great either, or just that one element that they can identify with, and it just happens to be art that they connect or release. So when you buy t-shirts, so is it just one design that has been created and then sold, or is it always a different design?
We have one design that we've been practicing on, putting it on different shirt fabric, because not all t-shirts are the same. So we ordered some samples, and then different types of printing. One was like a laser, what do you call it? It was a laser printed vinyl decal versus screen printing right on the shirt. And I think we've decided to go with screen printing. So we haven't made a bunch yet. We're in production. So we're trying to figure out the best product to offer, a good quality. And then we have like 3 designs that we're gonna launch with. Well, we have 3 designs that we want to launch with, and I don't know if it's a good idea to have 3 or just start with 1, but we have up to 3. And then I've got like 5 on the back burner that we could, you know, put up and see what sells the best. Whatever, I've heard that whatever gets the most orders, that's what you want to promote as, you know, the top seller, whatever design that happens to be.
I think his story is the seller. Whether this is design A, design B, design Z, it doesn't matter. I think his story is the seller. And like you heard, you know, you mentioned it yourself, the parents bought it because he's a 11-year-old boy, because they were impressed. So it could be, you know, you could create a whole catalog, and whether until you actually see the difference in all the designs in terms of which one got purchased the most, I would still say his story is the selling point, is the seller.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. And so would that be something that, how do we get his story out there? Do we put it on the online store, or?
Do you, yes, everywhere you can. Whether it's a little tag that goes on the shirt, thank you for purchasing, and then it says our story, our mission, kind of information. If you have a Facebook page, did you mention that you started one?
We have not yet.
Okay. Once you have a Facebook page, you can have the story on there. And Etsy, I believe it has a little area where you can talk about the producer or, you know, the seller. Where I'd like for you to try the direction of, if it is going to target mostly skater boys, you know, go to the skate shops and ask them, hey, can we make a set of, let's just say a dozen of these, and can you sell them? You know, do like some type of partnership, or like a percentage if they want some commission off of it, or something off of it, or just the fact that there is a story tied to it, that they're supporting somebody, and in exchange, you know, you're telling them, we can put you down as one of our supporters on our social media site. That's usually how I like to do things, where it's a trade, but there's value in that trade.
Yeah.
You know, you're our local sponsor for hosting our t-shirts in your store.
Okay.
And as a sponsor, we could even include your logo on there. So you're sponsoring actually this design, and every shirt that this design gets printed on will have your logo. How about that?
Okay.
So now you can actually get money off of them, not just a space to sell them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he already created a logo, or
Yeah, we have a logo. It didn't print very well. We have a graphic designer that is going to clean it up for us. It's we put it on the sleeve.
Okay.
I don't know if you can.
Yeah. What was it that didn't print well?
On the darker colors, the writing was too thin, so the font needs to be thicker. But yeah, and our logo, it says Jack and Tan, which is the name of our company, and the J is a monster mouth with teeth, so it's like his own J.
Yeah.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're testing it out. I would say even test it out in business card size. As
Okay.
if it was going to go on a business card, you know, even smaller, so that you know how it prints on all types of media or collateral.
Okay.
And you know, get them known by other businesses. If you know who sells toys, or who sells monster related items, or, you know, what are skateboarding boys into besides Vans, you know, or.
Yeah, they like scooters. They like video games, you know. They like beach stuff, bikes, you know, dirt bikes.
Yeah. So, you know, even visiting the boutiques by Pismo or Avila, Morro Bay, all of those touristy shops, same thing as the skateboard shop. Hey, would you like to sponsor a t-shirt? Or, hey, would you mind sponsoring a space for him? You know, we have these t-shirts. And then also sometimes you can incorporate some type of message on your, you know, the designs that relate to how kids are going through life, how he's perceiving it, but also that allow him to connect with other teens or other preteens.
Okay.
So in terms of placing them on Printify, it sounds like it's fairly easy. You order it, they ship it, and then you can also post it on Etsy, which means you could probably also post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna log into the Facebook really quick. Have you used Etsy before?
When it was way young, I mean, a long time ago, I tried to sell a painting, and I think it was free to post it back then. So I haven't kept up with how it's done lately.
Do you happen to know how much they charge to sell? Francis, I think you said something, but.
Etsy's got a lot of fees.
A lot of fees.
There's a lot of fees on it. It's depending on how you set up your shop and what you're doing, but there are definitely fees on
Yeah,
different sections of how you're setting it up. And if you're using it, if you're having Printify do your Etsy, then that's fees as well. So for both of those great platforms, not saying don't do it, just be very cognizant of the fees that you're paying to make sure that your profit is where you want it or need it to be.
Yeah, I've been kind of shocked at how much profit we would make after all those fees. You know, that we've been toying around with the idea of just getting a screen printer locally, buying the shirts locally, and then having maybe, you know, the Etsy site, but not going through Printify, because, you know, their shirts are more expensive and the shipping that the customer has to pay is more expensive. So we lose profit in all of that. So we
Do you have your resale license?
You know, I had one once. Is it always the same, or do I need to get a new one?
As long as it's the same business entity, a resale license doesn't expire, but you need to make sure that your information is up to date with it.
Okay.
But especially, so I'm looking into doing printing t-shirts and
Oh,
a bunch of stuff. If you have your resale license, and another lifetime, I used to be a buyer for a clothing boutique. I will tell you right now, if you get your resale license and set it up as a wholesale and you go to the garment district down in LA, and you can do it on, you don't have to go to LA. It's called Fashion Go. You can do everything through your phone if you wanted to. You can do everything online, but
Did you
your
say
t-shirts will
fashion.
be tremendously less expensive than trying to go even.
Fashion Go.
If you're going through a middleman, you're going to be paying middleman fees.
Yeah. Did
So
you say it
if
was
you go
called
direct, Fashion Go,
Go G, like G-O?
Fashion Go, yeah.
Okay.
And if you can just Google Los Angeles Garment District, it'll all pop up, and you, as long as you have your resale license and a business license, you can send everything in via there's a portal. You just do everything online, and then you can order everything online. And then that'll allow you to get to different manufacturers with different styles, different colors, whatever you're doing, and then all ages too. So if you ever decide to diversify, then you have that ability. And if you're looking for small batch, locally, Hobby Lobby just opened in Slow and their t-shirts are $2.99.
Yeah,
So most screen printers, you can provide your own. You can say, here are the t-shirts I want you to print on. And you can save a whole lot of money by supplying your own shirts that way.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Francis.
Yeah, as we ordered some, just even 2 sample shirts, you know, to go through Printify, that was expensive, you know, the
But yeah, they're
customer-
like $25 a piece. It's no joke. They
Yeah.
make a lot of money off of you for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that we're
Yeah.
kind of figuring out, you know, to have even like some vinyl transfers. If we have a design that sells real well, buy those cheaper and take them to somebody with a press and have them just press them on shirts for us.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, the refunds or reprints through Printify, I mean, you want your customers to be happy. So if for whatever reason there's an error, how likely or how easy is it to do refunds or replacements through Printify?
And
that-
another idea that you can do is, especially if you're looking for people to be able to even do it on their own. So on Etsy, you'll find it's very popular to where
Yeah.
you put up a vector file and then they buy that file from you. So you can take all your designs, put them up as a design, and then people can take that file, that electronic file, and print it on everything and anything they want. And you don't have to do that. So all you're providing them is the artwork. And then you're charging them for that. And you can make a lot of money that way. It's still getting out your design to a broad spectrum of people without having to go through the production process.
Okay, I hadn't learned about that.
So go
So-
on Etsy tonight and
Oh,
Google
okay.
or Etsy and search Cricut designs,
Okay,
because that's a huge market for people who have a Cricut machine. You can go in and you can buy these SVG files, which is basically a vector file. They upload it into Design Space, which is the program for Cricut, and then they can put it on whatever they want. They can print it out
Wow.
with their own machine, and because I know this because I have a Cricut machine. I'm a Cricut addict. I'm in desperate trouble because we have a Hobby Lobby that is this close to me now. But it's a great way. Angie Holden is someone that you should look up on YouTube. She has a whole business. This woman makes so much money from making her own designs and selling them as SVG files on Etsy and through her website. It's crazy.
wow. So she's just basically like an artist so
She's a Cricut creator.
a Cricut creator. Okay, this is
And
all new
she-
to me.
Yeah, and you can contact me directly. I can spend hours talking to you about this.
Yeah,
and
I
have
would
a
love
lot, but
to.
She has Angie Holden. If you put her on in YouTube, she has a room that she in her house, and it's every Cricut machine and every press known to man behind her, and every vinyl. Oh yeah, I
Wow.
would die to have this room in her house.
Yeah.
But she does tutorials on everything, but she will show you the process of what I'm talking about, not necessarily for you to do what she's doing, but to understand how she's built her business model and how that works hand in hand for what you're doing. Because she
Wow.
also will show you if you want to make your own t-shirts, like she shows you through the whole process. And it's not difficult. I've been making shirts. So if you're looking at scale, that's when it becomes an issue, right? So when you're starting off, if you're just building your name, building your brand, getting awareness, and you want to do small batches for local events or whatnot, it's very feasible and very affordable to do it on your own to get going. But once you start getting to a point to where you have to scale and you're selling it to multiple states, and then you need hundreds of them made, then yeah, you want to do it at mass. But in the beginning, the actual amount of money that you would have to invest to make your own shirts is really not a lot. If you look at how you can break down, how you can keep that profit to get to your break even and then push forward. But she's absolutely amazing. She's a mom. She's doing this out of her house.
Wow.
like, and she'll show you through everything. And she makes a lot of stuff because she makes it for her kids, right? So she's like, I know what moms want and what they're looking for and the cute little things that they want to be able to find that they can't. And so she makes all of these files and sells them. So then these moms can have their DIY at home and create what they've been looking for everything. I mean, everything. You could think, like, she made footballs for her local school. With
Wow.
I mean, everything she has done with her artwork. So I think that would be a great resource for you.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And her last name is Holden?
Holden. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's fantastic. I can't wait
Yeah.
to learn about this new idea.
Yeah, no,
I
and this is-
apologize if I get you down the Cricut creations because it's rather addicting.
I bet. I bet.
yeah. This is why I love talking to everybody about what they're doing and how they're doing it, because it brings up conversations like these where we can learn from either something that we've done or something that we've heard of. And I mean, so many resources are available to us, which is amazing and very, very helpful when you're starting and growing your business. I did share the Etsy website. So, you know, the fact that it's customizable is something, it's a trend to want my own thing or my personalized this, or, you know, anything that could be customizable is a huge seller also. But yeah, I think Frances has a lot of good points and a lot of great resources that she just mentioned. And just stay conscious of where your efforts are going in terms of, like she mentioned, if it's more profit to just sell the design, or is it more profit to, even though it's a little bit more time consuming, you know, evaluate the price that you're selling them at, and then compared to the profits for each service. So if you're selling the design, how much is the design, and did you make enough compared to, if, let's just say, for example, you sell the design on the hat, but then you also tell them, oh, and we have these matching socks and a matching shirt. Would you have made more profits off of that set compared to just selling the design?
Yeah.
As a photographer, you know, sometimes I know there's a lot of photographers that just sell the USB or sell all the photos on a USB, and that's great. Where I tend to make more money is the fact that they want to order more or buy the USB. So they get a certain amount of pictures in their package, but if they want to order more, then, you know, that's I'm confident that my work will speak for itself and that it will get me those profits, you know, those extra sales after they've seen their pictures. Aside from the fact that it's their family or their event, of course they're going to want more pictures if I provide a variety of them. But Etsy is, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when you sell a design, does that mean like somebody has a blank t-shirt and they want to put a monster on it and your art is available? Okay, so it's not like you just sell all your designs to one person and you have to keep making, okay. So I don't have to keep making a million different designs.
No, that's the beauty about it, is that you have your file that, you know, that you have on your computer, and then anytime anybody wants to buy it, you're just emailing them an image and they're paying you for that image. So I mean, as many images as you have, you sell them individually. I mean, you can
Okay.
make that if you want to, but really where you're going to make your money is selling them individually.
Yeah. Gosh, wow. Yeah, I could see a lot of people liking his design specifically for dinosaur, monster, dragon category, because there's not a lot of good stuff out there.
Right.
Right.
And then if someone wants to make that into a window cling, a t-shirt, a hat, a beanie, whatever they want to do, they've got that file. They can go and turn it into do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So just taking it a step back, you know, thinking through how are you going to get people to go on Etsy or look for you on Etsy, here's the strategy. How do you, who do you go to sell the most designs, or who do you go to sell the most t-shirts if you're going to stick with t-shirts? How do you get people on your site? And that's something that will require you a little bit more time also to know who to reach out to, or is this something that you just want to promote on Facebook, and then it'll guide people to the Etsy account. You could also post it on your website, you know, a link or a graphic that will take them to your site, your store online. But I do agree with Francis. I mean, Printify does charge quite a bit of money in order to allow the most profits. Sorry, I know you kind of had just solidified that decision, but you know that I'm glad you're running across other resources that will help you increase profits.
Yeah, we were already like I mean, that's where we started. And we've already like scratched our heads going, this isn't going to be very profitable at all. I mean, you know, it's that I mean, that's kind of why I was also interested in this class, because I thought somebody's got to have better ideas out there. So,
Yeah.
and I'm totally new at internet marketing, media, anything like that. I've always just been a designer. So I'm like the art side of the brain, and then the computer business side of the brain. I don't have that.
I'm
We all
gonna
start somewhere. Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. I got to do something with the rest of my life.
I'm gonna continue with the presentation, which is getting us to. Can you see the slides?
Mhm.
Okay. So how do you? We already talked about your ideal client, how you can find them, who you want them to be. You might come across other new clients that you didn't think of that would make an even more ideal client. But think about, again, what makes them happy? What is their motivation to purchase from you? What does their day look like? Or what is it that attracts them to your product or service? Thinking about their budget, the language to use, the challenges that they face, what are their goals, and you know, what brands do they like? Do they like your brand just because it's similar to those brands, or is it because your brand is unique, nothing like other brands out there? Understanding their preferred form of communication. You know, with the newer generation, sometimes they prefer to just text and call. So when you call them, it's kind of like, oh, what were you doing? Or why are you even contacting me like that? You know, it's almost defensive. Like, you should know I only like to text. You know, or even using Instagram Messenger, knowing that who you're talking to is really important, because little things like that can kind of, you know, persuade them to maybe not do business with you anymore. In terms of getting them onto your site, that's something that I had asked you about. How do you get people to go to your website or go to your Facebook page, or where do you find them and convince them, or how do you convince them to go on those sites so that they can eventually purchase? And so giving your business personality, and that using vocabulary that could persuade your customers to purchase is important. We talked a little bit about how you come across, whether you're friendly or more of a serious no, if you're professional or, you know, inspiring. What are you doing that portrays those personalities? Not only is it in the tone of voice or in the tone of language, but also in the keywords that are being used, and your purpose. So when you're posting on Facebook, what is the purpose? You know, I talked to Melina a little bit about, is it to really obtain more clients? It wouldn't be. It's more to make them feel like they're part of a community or part of a group that also goes through the same same issues.
Me,
Yes.
Romy, I'm so sorry to
No, it's
interject.
okay.
I'm so sorry to interject, but we are definitely running over, and unfortunately, I do have something that I need to go and tend to. So
Okay.
we need to kind of
No,
wrap it
I
up.
didn't
if
realize it
we
was
can.
5:45. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah, I'll send this presentation to everybody as well, but these are a little bit, descriptions and ideas of how you can come across being a little bit more passionate or authentic, and just research as much as you can about your ideal customer. I can't emphasize that enough in order to know your target audience and your purpose. So again, thank you, everybody. I believe I put my information there if you want to contact me directly, or otherwise we'll see each other in the next meeting.